Tariffs, taxes, imports, exports, trade wars, and country of origin. Does it matter with guitars? Let's talk about it. Hey Internet, this is Chris McKee with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us on the web at alamomusic.com. So if you've been hiding under a rock, what's been in the world news is that there are all sorts of threats of new tariffs, realities of new tariffs, and multiple countries engaging in trade wars throughout the world, namely the United States and China and Mexico and some others. We're not really going to have a political discussion about this. You can comment below, y'all could yell at each other, I don't really care. What I do care about is talking to you guys about how this affects guitars and really the music industry in general. Because one of the things that often happens when we talk about country of origin is we think about that in regards to the quality of the guitar, the value of the guitar, and the price of the guitar. But how it can be affected by political changes and things that happen in our global economy oftentimes gets glossed over. And with what's going on right now and what's about to be taking place, I think it's really important that you know maybe a little bit about what I know about the situation. And that is namely that as a dealer of musical instruments in retail, we are already and have been receiving updates from manufacturers of potential or impending price hikes. These price changes, let's be honest, they kind of take place anyway to an extent. Inflation happens, things do get more expensive over time to manufacture. Sometimes it's raw materials, sometimes it's labor, sometimes something's just really, really popular. And if a manufacturer can charge more for it, they will charge more for it. So these things will affect the price of an instrument. They affect the price that you pay, and as a dealer, they affect the price that we pay. What's happening right now deals specifically with tariffs and trade. Now let's understand one thing. There's always been tariffs to an extent. These really are additional tariffs. So if you manufacture something in a foreign country and you bring it in to the United States, for instance, or something's manufactured here and sent to another country, there's going to be taxes, import tax and tariffs on these things. If you don't believe me, go find out how much it costs to buy a Taylor guitar in Australia, and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is nothing new. This happens. It's part of trade. It's part of import and export. But what's specifically taking place now is that there are additional tariffs being put on top of existing tariffs on goods, mostly for political reasons and again, things we're not going to get into. It's just simply a reality. Now, these tariffs may be there for a long time. Some people speculate that this is part of a trade war and negotiating and it's going to go away. In either case, at least in the interim, in the near future, we're probably going to see a change in prices. And this is my personal speculation. If prices do go up, and they go up a little bit, they're probably going to stay there unless there's a dramatic impact to the industry at large. I might be wrong on that. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't have any information from any manufacturers that are telling me so, but that's likely to be the case. So what does this mean for guitars and where they're manufactured? Well, I have a guitar in my hand that I think kind of plays a role in this, and something that illustrates my point that I want to express to you. So this is an Ibanez, okay? And if you ever want to know where something is manufactured, you can find it on the guitar. Now on this guitar, you can look here. Right on the back of the headstock, it says made in Indonesia. It's a great guitar, okay? Very high quality. I don't hate on it because of where it's made. I think it's a great value, and it has some better fit and finish lines than some guitars that are maybe made more domestically. So, fantastic guitar for the price. It's made in Indonesia. A lot of you might think, well, because it doesn't say this, which says made in China on the back of the Squire, it won't be affected. So, we have a made in China, we have a made in Indonesia. Some of that thinking would mean this might go up in price with the trade wars and this won't. Is that correct? Nope, probably not. Why? Well, this guitar was manufactured in Indonesia. Where were the pickups made? Where was the hardware made? Where was the fret wire made? The fact of the matter is that we live in a global economy, and there's a lot of things other than just simply where something is put together that plays a role into the overall final value of an instrument. So guitars that are built overseas and south of the border in Mexico tend to be less expensive simply because, let's face it, the labor to put them together is less expensive than labor in the United States is. There's also a lot of automation used and things that are done so that the guitar can be made at a certain pace. But increasingly, the quality is improving, and like I've said, we're kind of in a golden age of guitars. 30 years ago, you could not have purchased a guitar that was built overseas for $200 and get the quality that this is. But part of that manufacturing expertise is utilized beyond the construction of the instrument into the parts of the instrument. And beyond the manufacture of those parts, we also have to deal with raw materials. Pickups are made with magnets. Those magnets come from raw earth materials that are mined. Where are those being mined from? A lot of raw materials are being mined in China as well. And so all of this thing with trade, whether it's steel or it's magnets or it's components or it's the final instrument, are going to have an effect on the overall price of it. Let's also keep in mind that there's this trickle-down effect, okay? We're not talking about Reaganomics from the 80s, but we kind of are. Trickle-down theory basically says that what is going to impact someone is going to impact everybody. In this case, if a manufacturer is having to deal with additional expenses wherever it is in their business because their cost of doing business has increased because of these tariffs or other expenses, in this case we're talking about tariffs, then that is eventually going to filter down to the consumer, you. And we all end up paying a little bit more for something. Now, here's the good news. At the end of the day, you probably aren't going to be paying that much more, and in this case, it may be short-lived. But let me give you an example of some of the things that we're seeing. A lot of manufacturers are hoping that this is short-term, and so they're not raising prices initially, or they're not raising prices very much. Some other manufacturers are not raising prices on the instrument at all. They're finding other ways to keep the pricing down and deal with the new reality of tariffs, like, for instance, not including a gig bag or not including a case with an instrument that previously had it, so that the price of the instrument itself can stay at the same price. Now, in reality, that means that you're actually paying more if you're having to then buy a case, right? But at least on paper, that guitar costs the same amount that it did 6 months ago. Now, we're doing this video here in the summer. Summer NAMM's coming up. We generally see price hikes anyway, and whether it's tariffs or new models, or just the continual rise of prices with inflation and whatnot, I'm going to peel back the curtain of instrument retail, and really any retail, and I'm just going to let you in on a secret. If someone puts something out and they say, hey, prices are going up, you should buy now, here's what you should know. They're right. Prices are going up, and you should buy now. Now, it's not completely altruistic. There is an idea to create a sense of urgency in you, the consumer, to purchase that. But it does work in your favor, because here's what's going to happen. A manufacturer sets the price. If the price goes up and it's something I already have, they've set the price. I'll actually make more money. Now, when I have to replace that item, I have to pay more then, and then it's about the same. But in the interim, you can get it at the same price. I paid for it at the same price. Everyone's happy. If you wait, at the end, I'm probably happier. But know that when someone says, hey, pricing is going up, buy now, you probably should, if it's something that you're looking at and interested in. So I hope that's helpful. Now, beyond this, there's a lot of other things that go into what the final value is of a guitar, what goes into the building of it. We've done some videos on that, dealing with country of origin, quality, raw materials, features, and all of that stuff. But as it deals with what's going on in the world right now, we're in a global economy. This is going to affect everything. We'll see to the extent of how much it affects it. So feel free to flame each other in the comments down below. And if you have questions on this, ask us and we'll try to answer them as best we can. I hope this was informational for you, that it helped you to understand what's maybe coming down the pike and how it's going to affect the price of the guitars you're looking at. But we put these videos out to try to make you a better informed purchaser and a musician and guitar enthusiast like we are. So if you have any questions, comment below. Please, if you haven't done so, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Hey, thanks so much for watching our videos. If you enjoy what we're putting out, help support this channel by going down below and purchasing one of the t-shirts we've made for you. Rock your support for one of the oldest music stores in Texas and the country, and your love of guitar. Just purchase below, help support our videos, and go to our website, alamomusic.com, for more goodies that you can get. Thanks.